Hi, I'm Dr. Donna Novak. I'm with Simi Psychological Group, and I'm going to be talking about how to stop comparing yourself to others on Facebook. Comparing ourselves to others for the good and the bad is something that most of us do. We live in a society where there's a lot of self blame and bullying yourself, or just being hard on yourself, or comparing yourself to others and using others as a judge for how good you're doing or if you're doing okay. Social media is something that is definitely on the rise, as all of you know, and Facebook is a really big one. Many people just start kind of mindlessly going through Facebook and just kind of looking through their feed. And a lot of times it leads to self comparisons. And I feel like a lot of the time people don't even realize they're doing it. It's just something that maybe is kind of like a automatic thing that's done, where they're just kind of telling themselves, oh, what are they doing and what am I not? Or how are they happy and I'm feeling this way, or whatever the situation may be. So an example that I thought of, or could be something like this. It could definitely be different, but let's say, for example, you are out, on a night out with your husband and having a really good time. You bought a new dress. I'm speaking to the woman. You bought a new dress and you're wanting to share that. So you're eagerly checking Facebook all the time, like every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just looking for comments and likes. And then one thing you notice is that instead of like this awesome night out where you're actually enjoying it with your husband or your partner, you are looking at Facebook and you are just kind of getting caught up in social media. And then you look over and so is he. And you're just like, wait a minute, like instead of actually spending this time together, this is what we're doing. So that's one kind of way it could play out. Another way is that you could be, in the midst of a tantrum with your, 2, 3, 5-year old, and the child's like all on the floor crying, and you're just trying to get your mind to calm down. Maybe you're trying to actively ignore him, and trying to get your mind in a different place. And you start going through Facebook, and you start seeing these really happy families that are just out and doing fun things and not having tantruming children all around. And you start thinking, what's wrong with us? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with my child? Or why can't we be this way? And again, these messages might not be something that you're actively thinking about, but it might just be something that just kind of flashes in your mind, and it's something that stays stuck in there. And you have to really kind of pay attention to it and dissect it and talk through it to really challenge, what's been coming up for you about that. So one of the things that I'm going to kind of point out is that a lot of these like Facebook checking and comparisons, and a lot of this comes through like that mindless search that I was talking about. And I think that these checking behaviors can come from like a really anxious place. It's something that it's kind of maybe hard to understand, but like it's comfortable. That in between things of like, hey, instead of thinking about something that's hard or doing something that I don't want to do, or working through something I don't want to work through, and mindlessly kind of looking through Facebook, it might actually be, a way to ease your anxiety, or something you're doing that feels more comfortable or certain to deal with anxiety. So actually, with the previous example where we're talking about like that awesome night out that you're really excited about, and that you posted that picture that you were feeling really good about yourself, instead of being in the moment and connecting, maybe you are just kind of focused on checking, and that's really can be from this anxious place. And what would it be like to actually just be present? Maybe just even reassure yourself that you feel good about you, that you don't need that reassurance from outside, and just give that to yourself and just be fully present with the person that you're with. How would that night look different? And if you were both to do that, how would you end up feeling? So something to really keep in mind. And what will happen if you continue to do this? If you continue to kind of live in like this kind of comparison, not in the moment, not being present, what would things look like? It would get really tiresome and frustrating, because you're constantly using like outside to kind of judge something that's internal. that can be judged from an internal place, and you're using kind of outside means, and that never feels stable. That's not something that can be consistent. It's something that shifts, and anything that shifts that has to do with your confidence, it's not going to feel good eventually, and it is going to get rather frustrating. It's gonna sink into deeper insecurities, and it's going to, in terms of like the anxiety, you're going to continue to be helping your anxiety in ways, or trying to ease your anxiety in ways that are ultimately not so helpful. If you do end up starting to kind of do some of these strategies and really work on this, and not compare yourself so much to others, you will ultimately feel much better about yourself, and can make these active changes in your life where you're not looking for that outside to be able to help you feel better inside, that you're able to do that for you. I'm not one thing I want to kind of make clear with Facebook. It's not that it's always used in ways that are bad or negative. There are many people that share and are able to do that in a way that feels good to them. But you really have to know and ask yourself, why am I posting this? Why am I on Facebook? What's the purpose? What is it doing for me? How is this helping me feel better about me, or feel connected, or, like, what's the purpose behind? So it's not something that is just so mindless. It's something with intention, and that makes all the difference. So I'm going to talk about 5 steps to stop comparing yourself to others on Facebook. So I think first and foremost, you want to understand what's presentation and what's real. People tend to post pictures when they're having fun, doing something that's different, when they look their best. So it's not necessarily that it's their kind of truest of selves, so to speak. It is a moment in time that they were experiencing, just like you've had many moments in time, but you are this whole person and you're human. So there's so many of that goes beyond this kind of maybe more presentation that you're kind of looking through Facebook, and there's these deeper things that aren't typically being presented through Facebook. Here at Simi Psychological Group, we definitely work with our clients on identifying what is something that is real and what is presentation. So that way they're not just taking on the presentation of others and having that be a negative comparison to themselves. So you really need to understand that. Another thing is you want to catch the automatic thoughts that are coming to your mind. As you're mindlessly going through Facebook, it can become something that is out of boredom, or we talked about out of anxiety, and you might not be paying attention to the type of thoughts that are coming up. A big example of that, and something that we see often, and I'm sure you have experience doing yourself, is all the shoulds. I should be doing that, or I should be that weight, or I should be, my child should be smiling, or whatever it is. So there's a lot of shoulds, and whenever you go to all those shoulds, it doesn't feel good. It's not a place that you want to be. So you really want to be able to catch that and be able to kind of challenge yourself to change those words. If it's something that you really want and it's like more of a want, or something that you feel that you need, it might be different than those shoulds, because should, again, can be going to that presentation. We're gonna also, number 3 is you want to clean up your friends list. Sometimes we have friends on there that don't need to be there. It can be there for the wrong reasons. So possibly an ex, or someone that doesn't bring out the best in you. And when you have those friends on there, it's not something that is kind of contributing to that best place and making you feel good. So you might want to kind of keep the ones that feel truer to you, and people that you really do want to see their feed, and not the people that you're actively maybe looking to see their feed, but doesn't actually make you feel better. Step 4 is balance digital time with real life connections. So many people have lots and lots and lots of friends on Facebook, but how many of them are your real friends? So wanting to kind of make sure that you are having those real connections where you are able to share about you, and kind of show those best parts of you, but then also the whole you that we were talking about before. And having a good balance, recognizing if there's too much time going into like digital and Facebook, and not as much with like personal connections. So you want to balance that. And last and foremost, if you're really seeing that you're doing a lot of these comparisons, or now that we talked about it, or now that you're starting to realize how much more you do compare yourself, because it might be that unconscious kind of or habitual thing that you're doing. If you're doing a lot of those comparisons, I'm just gonna say it. You might want to consider just taking a complete hiatus from Facebook. It's going to be different, and actually it could be really good to kind of see like, hey, when I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling the need to like ease, how often am I going on Facebook? And now that I don't have it, what am I doing instead? So that could be actually a really good thing for you, or making, and if you're not going on a complete hiatus, making a very specific choice as to like when it is that you're going. So maybe you check once a day, maybe at a certain time, but making maybe clear choices to kind of pull away from it so you can actually help yourself limit that comparisons and help yourself ease the anxiety in different ways. We are always working with our clients on being able to be their best selves and build that confidence and do that internally and not externally here at Simi Psychological Group. So feel free to reach out with any questions, and it was nice speaking with you.